Story time. We're going to switch this thing up a little bit. My voice is still messed up from the Kentucky Derby. I'm not mad at it. I hope you're not. You know what? I know you're not because I've got 0 followers. Um, and that's just fine. We've been, we've had a few different areas that we've touched on in these first couple videos. I want to tell, well, first of all, okay. I did win some money on Kentucky Derby Saturday, right? On the big race, especially. But let's be honest, any horse bettor that tells you only about their wins or, they win 80% of the time, that kind of thing, they're definitely liars and they're probably psychopaths. Okay, so I want to tell you a funny story. Um, it was actually last year in the third leg of the Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes. And as you can see from my thumbnail, I hate that word, thumbnail. Aren't we getting to the point with YouTube, the internet, the ethernet, all of it, to where we can come up with something better than just thumbnail? But anyway, you see on my thumbnail. um, I ended up betting on this horse named MINDFRAME. We'll talk more about him, but it just goes to show you can get so passionate about these things. It's like any other sport, and any sports fan who's worth their salt and they're actually honest, if they're into it enough, they can tell you they've broken a few remotes. All right, the last remote that I broke prior to MINDFRAME that I can remember, it was Halloween of, I want to say it was either 2015 or 2016. I'm a Duke guy, Duke graduate, so I'm not just a fair weather basketball fan. I'm a huge Duke football fan. Go back on the internet and watch this. Duke played Miami in football on Halloween night, whatever year. And just type in Duke Miami lateral pass miracle, whatever. So Duke's up by, like, let's just say 6, because if it's 6, then Miami's going to win by 7 if they score whatever the hell it was. Duke had just taken the lead. We had a chance to win, put ourselves in position to win the ACC Coastal, which is huge for Duke football. So I digress. Duke kicks off to Miami. And I kid you not, I believe the Canes, with an interim coach by the by, lateraled the ball like 18 times on their way to romping into the end zone at good old Wallace Wade Stadium. Well, me and my wife were living in Charleston, South Carolina at the time, and without a beat. So we had a townhouse, and you walk. It's one of those townhouses you walk in for whatever reason. There's like a little foyer, whatever, and then there's a huge staircase that's steep that has at least 18 steps. So I'm at the top of that staircase because that's where our TV room is. Right after Miami scored, it was confirmed that they won. I just, without a word, took the remote, walked as calmly as I could over to the top of that flight of stairs and launched that Cox cable or Spectrum cable or whatever awful cable remote that it was into 1,000 pieces. And I'll tell you this, I'll give my wife credit on that one. She didn't say a word because she understood. She understood I was hurt. I'm still hurt, but I'll be fine. So getting back to the horse racing stuff. So MINDFRAME, all right, the Belmont is the third leg of the Triple Crown. MINDFRAME had not run in the Kentucky Derby. He did not run in the Preakness. he started his career a little late. It was down in Florida. It was at Gulfstream. It was in late March. He ran for the first time, 7 furlongs. He's a Todd Pletcher horse, had Irad Ortiz Jr. on the mount. Everything going for him if he had any kind of talent. Well, guess what? This colt has all sorts of talent. Go back and watch that. I keep always telling you to do this and you to do that. But that it's my channel, so I can do that. So just go ahead and do all those things that I said. Anyway, type that in. MINDFRAME horse maiden. Okay. They ran blistering first quarter pace. It was like 21-2, something insane. MINDFRAME's sitting right off the lead, comfortable third. And when he makes his move, he's asked for a little something. On the far turn, he explodes in a way that's almost indescribable. I'm going to mention Flightline a lot on this podcast, or it's not even a pod. I hate that word too. Thumbnail, pod. I guess this is just my channel. He reminded me, MINDFRAME won by, I think it was 14 lengths. It got to the point to where MINDFRAME was crossing the finish line and no other horses were on the screen. Okay. Now it's easy to get really excited about a debut. Baffert has about 6 or 7 of those horses every year. But MINDFRAME was definitely one in my mind to watch, right? From then on. Beautiful, dark, black, dark gray, black horse, whatever. It's switched here on the animation because I'm just amazing at all this stuff. So my mind's thinking about MINDFRAME heading into the Kentucky Derby. I'm prepping for weeks for the Kentucky Derby. Did I win money on that? The answer is yes. And the only reason why I won last year, that was Mystic Dan. It was a wet track. I'm going to tell you again, folks, go ahead and watch the 2024 Southwest Stakes. And Mystic Dan just dominates in the slop. But my point about MINDFRAME's running earlier on that card in an allowance. They're going 1.1 miles. So the classic distance is 1.25 miles. So if MINDFRAME proves that he can get 1.16 miles, especially if he looks strong through the wire, we may really have something here, right? Well, guess what? We really had something there. He goes off at a 2-5 favorite. That one, he started from the outside post, immediately just stretched out, took the lead before the first turn at Churchill. Tactical speed, turned it on in the end. I want to say he won for fun, geared down by 6 or 7. But what was impressive to me was the colt was what we call strong and straight through the stretch, meaning his head wasn't flying all over the place. He did not have a target in front of him because he was the leading horse. But he stayed completely straight. He didn't seem bothered. He didn't seem distracted. There was none of that. And guess what? There's 150,000 people in the stands that day. Well, it's earlier in the day, so we're probably looking at 70 or 80,000 fans. But my point remains, this is a 3-year-old colt in his second race ever, and he runs strong and straight for, just a second very, very impressive win. Another mental note was taken, okay? Not sure how well it was filed away, logged away, run away, whatever. because I was just so excited. Me and my friends were so excited for the Derby. But it was somewhere back there in my mind, okay? So we get through the Preakness. The Preakness was kind of a bummer. Mystic Dan did not win it, so we're not looking at the Triple Crown threat to win that going into the Belmont. But guess who shows up at the Belmont, and rightfully so? And that's MINDFRAME, okay? And I'm as excited as all get out. I think I've got, the wise guy horse. I don't care if he went off at even money, which he didn't. I don't remember what he went off. I didn't log it in right in my mind. I don't remember what he went off at. But ran a hell of a race. Again, started from an outside post. Had to tip around horses. So he's running against a horse named Dornoch. Dornoch ran in the Kentucky Derby. He was always known, he needed an early speed and was really good on the rail. Okay. That's exactly what Dornoch got that day. My mind was, all right, worst case scenario, Dornoch runs his race to a T. MINDFRAME's going to run his, and it's going to be over anyway, buddy. It ain't going to matter. And at this point, horse racing fans, once you get a little mojo going, especially around Triple Crown, time, and you win some money on the Derby or the Preakness, and you're excited, you're wanting to roll that over. So I'm at least a few hundred deep. I don't remember exactly what the bet was. Probably $300 or $400 straight win bet on MINDFRAME. Okay. So not only that, I'm bragging all over town. Everybody at work knows that I'm just a horse racing nut, a little bit of a weirdo. That's fine. But I'm telling people, hey, take a good look at this horse. And a couple of really good buddies of mine who are into this less than I am, at that point, they're kind of treating my picks as gospel because the Mystic Dan pick made me really look like I knew something, right? And granted, I studied, but let's be honest, Forever Young and Sierra, Forever Young ran the best race in the Derby that year. Sierra Leone was the best horse. He was the Eclipse horse of the year. And all these horses are in the field, right? So we talked about the Preakness that MINDFRAME didn't run in. Well, Mystic Dan did. A horse from myracehorse.com ownership group trained by D. Wayne Lucas called Seize the Gray got out to an early lead in Baltimore and basically gate to wired the field. Okay. So in the Belmont, and this year that it's being held at Saratoga, this year meaning 2024 at this point. So think about the horses in the field, right? You've got good old Dornoch. I think he on the rail again, I believe. Obviously MINDFRAME, but you've got Sierra Leone, who finished second in the Kentucky Derby. He ended up winning the Breeders' Cup Classic, and he was named the Eclipse Horse of the Year at the end of the year, okay? So the best horse in the country for 3-year-olds ultimately is in the race. You've got Anna Marie. He was in many, just muchos grandiose races. I mean, he was in the Derby. I got to check, but I think he might have been in the Preakness. And now he's at the Belmont. You know who else is there? The Preakness winner, Seize the Gray. So if MINDFRAME can somehow beat this field, you're looking at possibly the best colt in the country. And I'm thinking, man, it's not hard to look at a horse who wins by 13 and a half lengths his first time out and think, wow, I've spotted some real talent. Um, but for him to be able to do that, repeat it in the allowance race on Kentucky Derby Day, and then to come back in his third race against absolutely his strongest competition and to win that, I would have felt really good about the opinion. So let's get to the race, right? Same old thing. Dornick saving ground around the entire way. Mindframe runs his race, does really well, starts from the outside post, picks up a couple horses before the far turn, makes a somewhat early move, but he's tipped out wide enough and he's passed enough horses that by the time we're at the quarter pole, when we're at the 3/8 pole, Mindframe is closing in on Dornick. I mean closing in like, all right, this horse is going to win the race, right? I'm getting it don't take a whole lot to get me excited, but I'm excited. And I'm thinking, man, I'm going to win this money and I'm going to win my buddies that money and I'm going to be the expert, all that, right? It is what it is. So he's on the outside, remember, and Dornick's saving all this ground up by the golden rail. Mindframe actually takes a short lead. And I swear on 1,000 Marys or whatever you want to call it, Irad Ortiz Jr. whips him with a left-handed crop. And I've seen it, but I've never seen it in a race of this caliber. This absolute buffoon of an equine turns right, and it looks like he's going to run into the grandstand. I mean, it looks like he's going to run through the fence protecting the fans and hurt multiple people. And at this time, Dornick, strong and straight, unlike Mindframe, Dornick just finishes the race. Well, Irad's able to rein in Mindframe somehow, and this effer just explodes back on like a diagonal angle. And as they pass the finish line, Mindframe's making up ground quickly. But it's too late. You're in second at that point. I I was so effing mad that there goes. There at that time it was Cox cable for us. And I had lost so many remotes. I drained the battery on so many remotes that I just decided it was time to smash a remote. And here's the thing, fellas and ladies, and there's really nobody listening at this point, so that's fine. Whoever. It felt good. It felt good. I didn't win money. And I didn't win any more pride. But what I did win, I really didn't win anything. So anyway, that's the story time. I hope everybody's doing well. Don't let your horse racing fan buddies tell you that all they do is win. What is it? Is it Rick Ross? All I do is win, 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 no matter what. I'm lying off my ass because I don't give a hoot. That's what we're talking about here, okay? So have fun. Horse racing's super fun. Have fun with the wins, obviously. Have fun with the losses, if you can, because it makes it a lot more enjoyable sport. We'll check in with you again soon, all right? It's Gallop Guide. Please subscribe. You know what? Subscribe, like, comment. I went to work today and I'm excited about the new channel. I realize I'm not in the algorithm or any of those things quite yet. I don't think. But I have very few views. We're talking less than 10, okay? Maybe on both vids. That's okay. I've got 0 subscribers. I'm hoping one day we can look back at this and laugh together because I'll have many, and it's not necessarily about the number. It's more I want to have a community to where we can get get some conversation going about these caballos. So anyway, have a good one, and you'll be hearing from me soon.